His shirt was missing from the pile, a quiet sign I tried not to read through. He's been coming home much later, talking less with every day. And though he never says what's wrong, I can feel him slowly pulling away. Still wearing his ring, though the shine's grown thin, holding on to vows he's forgotten how to keep. Still wearing his ring, though he wanders again, trying to believe our promises run deep. The neighbors ask if we're all right. I smile and say we're doing fine. But when I set 2 plates at supper, I'm the only one that waits on time. Still wearing his ring, though the shine's grown thin, choosing hope in places he stopped looking for. Still wearing his ring, though he wanders again, wishing he'd remember who he once loved more. I keep the photograph on the dresser, the one where he swore he'd stay. Some nights I trace the edges softly, wondering when that promise slipped away. Still wearing his ring, though the shine's grown thin, and I'm learning what it costs to stay this strong. Still wearing his ring, though he's drifting again, hoping one day he'll find his way back where we belong. Until then I'll hold my quiet space and the ring he placed on my hand. He sat down at the table with a sigh he didn't try to hide. I asked him what was on his mind. He said, "Don't worry, I'm just tired tonight." But people don't change tone for nothing, and love doesn't shrink without a sign. He spoke in short, uneasy phrases, the kind that say more than any line. I heard enough to know he's gone, even if he's sitting right here still. 'cause love shouldn't hurt just standing still. He said he didn't mean to wander, didn't know just what he felt, but apologies that come so slowly can show a heart already somewhere else. I heard enough to know he's gone, even while he tried to make it sound small. I heard enough to carry on, because I won't keep begging for a love that won't call. I used to hold my breath around him, trying not to make things worse, but the truth lands soft and certain when a promise stops matching its words. I heard enough to know he's gone, and I won't break the way I did before. I heard enough to walk alone, because staying shouldn't hurt me anymore. And as I pick up my old suitcase, I finally hear something stronger, my own voice telling me to go. He came home late with that tight excuse, said the day just wouldn't end. I set his plate beside his chair and smiled like nothing needed to mend. He barely asked how I'd been doing, didn't notice how I held my breath. Love shouldn't feel like waiting quietly for someone's heart to take one more step. I stayed anyway, though he pulled away, holding on to promises growing thin. I stayed anyway, hoping day by day he'd remember how we used to let each other in. I folded laundry by the window, watching neighbors pass in pairs. Funny how the smallest silence makes you wonder who still cares. I stayed anyway, though he pulled away, trying to keep what he'd begun to lose. I stayed anyway, believing we could stay, even when he gave me fewer signs to choose. There comes a point you face the truth. Love won't grow where it's not held, and all the trying in the world can't fix something he never felt. I This time I'll choose the strength I didn't know I'd keep. And as I walk out with my head held high, I leave behind the woman who only stayed to try. He came home quite late last night, hung his coat without a word. I asked him how his day had been, but his answer barely reached the room. I tried to talk the way we used to, soft and steady, taking time. But he just nodded with a tired smile, like he wasn't sure how to meet me halfway. Love won't stay when we stop trying. It slips through days we overlook. Love won't stay if we keep lying, pretending everything's the same as it once felt. Breakfast cooled beside his chair. He left early without finishing much. I watched him go down the old front steps, wondering when our hearts stop matching pace. Love won't stay when we stop trying. It slips through days we overlook. Love won't stay if we keep lying, pretending everything's the same as it once felt. I still keep the picture on the dresser, the one where he held me close and proud. Some days it feels like someone else's story, but I'm not ready to let it go tonight. Love won't stay when we stop trying, and I can feel it drifting far from home. Love won't stay, but I keep fighting, hoping he remembers how we learned to hold on. Maybe tomorrow he'll sit a little longer, and maybe love can find its way back in. Set his supper on the table, just like any other night. He said he wasn't hungry, and that alone didn't sit right. He spoke a little shorter lately, like every word cost him too much. I tried to reach across the moment, but he barely noticed my touch. I bled quietly in ways he never saw, giving pieces of myself to keep us whole. I bled quietly while he built up walls, trying to love a man who wouldn't let it show. I washed the dishes slowly, listened to footsteps fading down the hall. He didn't slam a single door, but somehow that silence hurt most of all. I bled quietly in ways he never saw, holding on to hopes he stopped holding to. I bled quietly, though I knew the cost, trying to save a love he'd already walked through. Maybe he thought I'd never notice the way his warmth thinned day by day. But hearts know when they're losing what they kept safe for far too long away. I bled quietly in ways he never saw, staying strong where he had stepped aside. I bled quietly, but I'm learning now you can't heal someone who never wants to try. So tonight I breathe a little deeper and keep what's left of me in my own